Everyone loves a good tale of a happy family, providing the best environment for kids and all. However, the opposite was quite the case between Angelina Jolie and her father, the legendary Jon Voight. Early in life, the relationship between the two got so strained that they had to become estranged from each other for a while. However, at 85, Jon Voight has come forward with information that everyone has been waiting to hear all these years, which has the potential of providing a new trajectory for the relationship that he has with his daughter. Join us as we shed more light on this. Jon Voight is a Hollywood celebrity appreciated for his multifaceted talent and deep contributions to the film world. Born on December 29, 1938, in Yonkers, New York, Voight rose from modest beginnings into a highly respected actor. Active in acting for a period spanning over half a century, Voight has earned the reputation for being an emotional actor who can literally overwhelm with complex character performances. However, looking back at his life, it seems his family was the price he had to pay for fame. Voight cultivated a taste for the stage while at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. Voight became a household name in the late 1960s when he secured the lead role in the critically acclaimed Midnight Cowboy of 1969. In the film, Voight plays Joe Buck, an innocent Texan who relocates to New York City to make money as a male escort. Controversial and revolutionary, the movie dealt with loneliness, survival, and friendship, and propelled Voight to stardom. His role as Joe Buck landed his first Academy Award nomination in the Best Actor category, placing him as a rising star in Hollywood. By the 1970s, he had the lead in a number of key films like Deliverance in 1972 and Coming Home in 1978. Of all these films, though, one of the most important films must have been Coming Home, in which he played a paralyzed Vietnam War veteran. This earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. This dramatic and heart-wrenching portrayal of a man suffering from physical limitations and psychological trauma received widespread critical acclaim and underlined his position as one of the most versatile actors of his generation. He continued acting during the 1980s in films like Runaway Train, which gave him another Oscar nomination, and The Rainmaker, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, where he played a shrewd lawyer. While Voight's on-screen career was very successful, his personal life was miles away from being heavenly, as it was distressed by a troubled marriage that would later affect his relations with his children. Voight married actress Marceline Bertrand in 1971 and had 2 children, James Haven and Angelina Jolie. Their marriage looked very promising from the outset, as both Voight and Bertrand were wholly focused on their work. But the hard-driving career and the burgeoning fame brought separations and rumors of adultery into their marriage. Following several years of tension, Voight and Bertrand divorced in 1976. Angelina and her brother were to be raised mostly by their mother. The split left a gaping hole in Angelina's life, as Voight's paternal role was, by most accounts, irregular and distant. Bertrand took to providing for and nurturing her children, often at the expense of her own professional ambitions for the sake of family. She provided a stable, loving home for them, introduced Angelina and James to the arts, and encouraged their passions for acting and philanthropy. While Voight continued on his journey through Hollywood, his absence in Jolie's life became much more apparent, further damaging the already splintered relationship. Growing up, Jolie had a very tumultuous and at times disturbingly difficult teenage life, with a very complicated perception of her dad. While Voight was enjoying the success of his career and was reveling in all that Hollywood had in store for him, Jolie herself knew what touches of rejection and anger felt like. And though Voight made sporadic attempts at warming up to his kids, it fell short, usually because what the relationship lacked was a consistent father figure that was so desperately desired by Jolie. Meanwhile, through it all, Voight's career continued to do quite well, with memorable roles in both film and television. In fact, his performance as a villainous lawyer in The Rainmaker was well received, and he received praise for his role in Ali, in which he played sports broadcaster Howard Cosell. He garnered an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for that performance. Voight diversified his career into a myriad of television shows in the 2000s, playing main characters in series such as Ray Donovan, where he played the scheming but charismatic father Mickey Donovan. He acted out the character to critical acclaim. All in all, Jon Voight's life is that of a man who attained major success in Hollywood but experienced intense falls in his personal life. His breathtaking performances in films such as Midnight Cowboy, Coming Home, and Ray Donovan cemented his status amongst the best that Hollywood has to offer. His troubled marriage and disappearance from the kids' lives, however, had an ample effect on them, especially Angelina Jolie. Mostly raised by her mother, Jolie had a complicated and almost strained relationship with her father as she grew up. She tried to work through the emotional difficulties of his absence with her rise to stardom. Though his legacy remains strong in Hollywood, the ghosts of Voight's personal choices have placed a lasting mark on his relationship with his family. Angelina Jolie's highs and lows with her dad, Jon Voight, have been very fluctuating. Probably one of the major strains in their relationship may have come when Voight spoke about Jolie's mental struggles without her permission. The incident, which happened in the early 2000s, was especially painful to Jolie because it delved into one of the most private and vulnerable areas of her life. Yet perhaps more importantly, the fact that she was so public about her mental health to the media, Voight further denied her privacy and added wounds to the years of an already fractured father-daughter relationship. In this light, the public betrayal only underlined a sense of abandonment, further separating her from a father who appeared distant and even unaware of her emotional needs. The state of their relationship really got intense with Voight's comment about Jolie's mental health. Voight went so far as to say his daughter had serious mental issues and that he was concerned about her well-being in the 2002 interview. Although he may have been content knowing that his words were well-intentioned, Jolie regarded remarks as intrusive and damaging. It represented for her his complete lack of understanding of what she was going through and his utter lack of discretion about her privacy. Jolie's battles with her mental health were neither new at the time nor trivial. Even when young, she was already depressed, lonely, and full of self-doubts. Growing up without a father figure made her feel deserted. She plunged into risky behaviors in an effort to cut the pain. She has spoken candidly about her struggles through multiple interviews over the years, recalling times when she felt disconnected from people around her and saw no way to move forward. Those feelings materialized into times of deep despair and suicidal considerations that Jolie lived through during her teens and early 20s. The pressures from the industry added to her struggles. The young actress and model Jolie struggled to cope with the pressure to please the public and the unresolved pain from her childhood. She has identified self-harm as a means of releasing her pain. This behavior, coupled with her struggles with depression and a feeling of emptiness, showed the depth of internal struggles she went through and how little support she got during her formative years. Apart from these struggles, the early career rebellious persona in Jolie was marked by unique fashion choices and bold statements that masked her vulnerabilities. To the world, she came across as very confident and strong-willed, but behind closed doors, she was besetting herself with painful searches for identity and meaning. When Voight spoke about Jolie's mental health, he had breached a boundary guarded so closely by Jolie, thus beginning the fallout. She had broken ties with him, going so far as to legally remove Voight from her last name, and later saying in interviews that she didn't consider him a part of her life. This continued to alienate Jolie, who was trying to find her identity without a fatherly figure in life, and still trying to come to terms with her own pain and the stigma that followed Voight's public comments. As it would turn out, the path to healing for Jolie would be even more surprising than anything she could have foreseen. In 2002, she adopted her first child, Maddox Chivan, from Cambodia. The adoption turned out to be one of the most profound things that happened to her in life, something from which she felt she was saved. She had adopted Maddox to divert her attention from personal demons to raising a child. For the first time in her life, she was investing energy in caring for someone other than herself, and that sense of perspective adjustment seemed to change everything regarding her mental health. Jolie told interviewers time and again how Maddox's presence grounded her and gave her purpose and direction. This would be her chance, when Jolie became a mother, to bring together into place a new kind of family structure, one that would provide her children with stability and love, things she did not get from her own parents. Her time with Maddox, for example, was about building a nurturing atmosphere, one that had marked contrasts to her tumultuous relationship with her father. Motherhood gave her a way towards redemption and healing in the effort she made to channel all her love and energy into building a supportive home. Given that she had the time, she also came to learn to let go of much of the anger and bitterness that she had harbored from her past. This was a transformative experience, constituting a turning point in Jolie's public life. She began to invest more time in humanitarian causes than staying under the spotlight of Hollywood. Most of it is related to children's welfare and the rights of refugees. Being a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations allowed her to connect with people around the world. It is through such experiences that she found something purposeful other than the idea of being famous. Jolie also found that her commitment to social causes provided a way toward healing, as it allowed her to rise to the defense of the helpless and be part of something greater than herself. Today, Jolie has continued to build her family through both adoption and biological children, creating a diverse and supportive household reflective of her values of empathy and compassion. It was motherhood that had helped her, to an extent, heal those traumas and reshape her priorities in life. As much as her relationship with Voight is still very complicated and approached with care, the family Jolie has grown has brought her peace and personal growth inspired by motherhood. To put it in a nutshell, the public commentary by Jon Voight regarding Angelina Jolie's sanity further exacerbated an already precarious bond between them and epitomized the hurt and abandonment that she had experienced all her life. Quite a personal issue with respect to her mental health, she felt that her father's comments added to her alienation. It was through the adoption of her son Maddox that Jolie found her path toward healing and self-redemption. Her maternal role gave her the chance to experience creating a family and also the stability and love that she had never received during her childhood. Finding purpose in her children and in her humanitarian work, Jolie overcame many of the struggles that once defined her life. Through this, she became the celebrated actress, dedicated mother, and advocate of social change that she is today. However, it seems the relationship between Jolie and her father isn't a lost cause just yet. At 85, Jon Voight finally spoke out about the regrets he carries with him about his life, particularly in terms of his relationship with his daughter. Whereas Voight had a very successful career in Hollywood, he now truly realizes how fallible his role as a father was and how his absence dramatically affected Jolie's life. Spending much of his time working as an actor, he admits to often being absent and missing critical moments of Jolie's life, leaving her mother, Marceline Bertrand, to bear all the burdens of parenthood. Now, with better clarity afforded by age, Voight has genuinely tried to make amends. He has sought not only forgiveness but also a closer relationship with Jolie and his grandchildren. Her father's absence pretty much defined Jolie's childhood. When Voight and Bertrand divorced in 1980, when Jolie was 5 years old, Bertrand had to take on the roles of mother and father for Jolie and her brother James Haven. Consumed by his acting career, Voight often seemed more interested in Hollywood than in his children. Due to that, she had grown up feeling abandoned and distrustful towards her father. A series of various acts of betrayal and distance through the years led Jolie to cut ties with her father eventually, and it was years later that Voight realized his mistakes. It was the death of her mother, Marceline Bertrand, who had been suffering from ovarian cancer since 1999 and passed away in 2007, that finally woke Jolie up to how important family was. The love and devotion that Bertrand had shown to her children made a lasting mark on Jolie, and her eventual death brought the realization to Jolie of how delicate life is. The loss of her mother became the deepest wound in Jolie's heart, and made her rethink her attitude toward her father. Bertrand's death marked a turning point. Jolie started considering reconciliation with Voight, realizing that through all the troubles, he was now the only parent she was still left with. The children also had a say in this decision, as Jolie started to cherish the bonds of family ties and wished to give them at least some sort of relationship with their grandfather. Voight has been quoted in recent interviews as saying that he regrets how his work consumed most of his time and attention, leaving him with hardly any time to cultivate a relationship with Jolie, let alone support her and her brother as they grew up. But such film success has come at a great cost, Voight acknowledges, and no amount of accolades or award recognition could replace those lost years stolen from the family. In recent years, Voight has made conscious efforts to bridge the gap between himself and Jolie. While their reconciliation has indeed been gradual, Voight has tried to prove his devotion to Jolie and her family by way of his presence, whereas previously he had been absent. He has been particularly interested in his role as a grandfather to Jolie's children, and has seen this as a way to show his love and devotion to her family. Of course, he can't change the past, but Voight has been clear about his desire to be a positive presence in their lives, attending family gatherings and building a relationship with Jolie's kids. For Jolie, this has meant some sense of closure and a chance to allow Voight into her life in one important but very limited way. It hasn't exactly been smooth sailing on the road to reconciliation for Voight, but his attempts to be a better grandfather haven't gone unnoticed by Jolie. While Jolie has publicly discussed how she has struggled emotionally with her father, the actress also seems to have opened her arms to this new chapter of his life, realizing he is truly trying to make amends. It is also a chance for her children to know their grandfather, aside from giving their grandfather a chance at redemption. The experience has been healing for both Jolie and Voight, who have continued rebuilding their relationship. To Voight, the feelings of regret for placing his career ahead of his family remind him of how so-called fame and success can be short-lived. He has gone on record to state the emptiness of success when it involves sacrificing one's relationships. He regrets not only what he has missed with his family, but also admits that his absence further took its toll on Jolie, mostly on her emotional well-being. Voight has said in more recent years how sad it is for him that he had not been able to be the father Jolie needed, and hopes that what he is doing today will help in some little way to make up for those wasted years. Marceline Bertrand's death encouraged Jolie to reevaluate her relationships, but it also served to make Voight realize what he had missed by being an absentee father. Voight, in his own way, has attempted to make amends with Jolie and her family as a means of paying his respects to Bertrand, who sacrificed much and wasn't able to provide Jolie with the parental support she needed when she was younger. While the relationship is still complicated, the fact that Jolie has been able to show compassion and strength by being open to reconciliation shows some chances for redemption. The bruises of the past may still be a part of their memories, but one can see in how Jolie had forgiven, and Voight was determined to be an ever-present, full-of-love grandpa, that sometimes reconciliation can right those wrongs and highlight the indelible will of family love. We hope you enjoyed the video and keep in touch for more amazing videos to come. Till next time, goodbye.